And we're live. Did you know that in just that 41-second oops clip, I got better than it was like better than 45% of TikTok live, like with 15 viewers coming on. So if folks show up, that means something, right? Like live actually carries a lot of meaning. It means a lot to me that you're here, and it means a lot if you get value out of this. And I only know if you get value if you say something, right? So, the usual stuff, right? I'm not trying to promo my show, but if you get something out of it, let me know. And if you have a question, like we had someone write in yesterday, we'll be able to cover that topic, right? We've only got a window to handle 2 Dear Ians each day. And, maybe your topic will be covered, but if not, definitely ask it out. There's tons of interpersonal challenges, tons of parenting challenges that we can cover and discuss. And if you're looking for a fresh perspective on it, here I am. All right. So for those of you who are new to the live, we do a Dear Ian segment right at 11-ish every day. We had some Ethernet issues yesterday, and so all that got ironed out. We did it a little bit later, but this is what happens. Life be lifing. And that's always the case. Life is always lifing, right? And so it's not, I don't coach to tactics. I coach to strategies. I coach to principles. And I think that's an important distinction between, well, what I do and something else that's not useful every single time. So what I really want to talk about is, with almost everyone, is establishing really clearly, what are your principles in the home? What are the 3 to 5 words that you can always come back to with your family? We can always say, hey, we're a family of honesty. We're a family of courage. We're a family of curiosity. And those are mine. So that's why they'll come up a lot. But you can have your own. They can be whatever you want. Respect is a good one. Brother's keeper, right? Humility, whatever, conscience. There's tons. Whatever you value within your family, that's what should be a value, or a principle. That's what you should say as a principle. Okay. So, yes, I'm here with my friend Nance, and Nance is going to read us a letter, a Dear Ian letter, and let's see what they had to say. They weren't mailed in. Okay. But you get the idea. It's like the Dear Abby. Anyway, I'll shut up. Go ahead, Nance. What have we got first?
All right. Here's the first letter. Dear Ian, I'm a dad of 2 boys, ages 6 and 9, and lately I feel like I'm constantly angry over things that shouldn't matter this much. Every morning turns into a fight, getting dressed, brushing teeth, shoes, backpacks. I start the day calm, but by the time we're trying to leave the house, I'm yelling. Then I spend the drive to school feeling guilty while they sit quietly in the back seat. The hard part is that I grew up in a house where yelling was normal. My dad had a temper, and everyone just learned to stay out of the way when he was upset. I swore I wouldn't parent like that, but now I hear my own voice sometimes, and it scares me how familiar it sounds. I don't think my kids are afraid of me, but I can tell they tense up when I lose patience, especially my oldest. He shuts down completely. How do you slow yourself down before reacting? And how do you repair things with your kids when you know your own unresolved stuff is affecting the way you parent? Angry John.
Angry John. Johnny, Angry Johnny, for those of you who are Poe fans. Angry John, thanks for writing in. First of all, I want to celebrate you, and I hope that you celebrate you for writing in. That's a big step. Right. Part of being a good dad, a better dad, is by reaching out and just saying, hey, I have questions. Hey, I don't know it all. Right. Admitting at least publicly, at least to the world, if not to your kids, that you've got things that you want to do better. That's really important. 2 boys, 6 and 9, special ages. That's great. For context, I've got an 8-year-old girl, a 9-year-old boy, and an 11-year-old boy. at this moment in the year, I swear, like, time travels fast when you're older. And so those numbers keep switching, but I get them right most of the time. You wake up calm. I like that, but I think let's discuss your benchmark for calm, okay, and how that calm is achieved, right? Because waking up calm for me means waking up clear. And if you know, right, what you've shared in your letter is that there's this pattern of calm to the struggle to get out the door, which leads to you losing patience as you drive your kids to as you drive your kids to school. Okay, so first of all, we got to look at that. If you are calm, you are clear. Okay, so how can you, in looking at the pattern of what's happened, recognize what is that trigger mark? What is that point at which you start to rise, you start to tense up because you recognize that your kids are noticing that first, and you're noticing them notice it. Okay, so all of this spells really good stuff. You shouldn't be angry, John, right? Let's change that to observant John. Okay, I'm going to call you observant John because the way we talk about ourselves matters. Observant John, you can see these things. You've seen these things and you don't like them. So don't step in the same steps, right? What can you do to butler for your future self? This is always a consideration, right? What can you do the night before? The kids are in bed. It's quiet time. Sure, you want to relax. You want to settle down. You want to watch a show, talk to your partner. Do the things that you do at night. But can you spend 5, 10, 15 minutes and invest in and taking care of future observant John? Can you do that? What would that look like? Are the kids' bags in the right place? Are their shoes in the right place? Are their jackets in the right place? Are their clothes picked out? Are their clothes picked out for them for tomorrow? Right? 2 sets of boys' clothes. Shouldn't be tough. And what's the breakfast plan? Okay? Is all that handled? Great. Right? Backpacks, frankly, if you know the vehicle they're going in, put them in the car. Right? That way the kids don't have to grab them. And then you can start a bedtime routine of, okay, everyone put on your skids, go outside and put your bags in the car because that's what we're getting ready for tomorrow, right? Show them, teach them by modeling for them. I'm preparing for future me. You guys can prepare for future you. Okay? It's a really intentional way to, 1, keep your kids active, ching, ching. 2, help them think ahead, right? Help them build that muscle of anticipating what's ahead of them. Okay. So now, as you're anticipating the day in front of you or the morning in front of you, calm, you know that you've handled prepping your coffee. You've handled breakfast for them. You've handled their bags are in the car already. So there's no worry about forgetting them. You've handled X and Y and Z other things. All right. So now the morning that used to have to contain 20, right, is now containing 15. Okay, and you've got the same amount of time to do 15, whatever the 15 are, 15 actions. And so you can go in and talk to them about the thing. Now, what are those fulcrum points, right? I don't want X breakfast. I don't want this cereal. I want that cereal that we ran out of 2 weeks ago, right? Or what have you. All right. What are those points where you really start to ramp up, where you really get frustrated? Maybe there's room for your kids to make the choice, right? What is this? Well, we're all out of cornflakes. What would you like instead? Well, I want cornflakes. Buddy, we don't have cornflakes. What would you like? Come with me and help me pick something out. So that's not on you all the time. And increasingly, my 9-year-olds cook for themselves. Eggs and simple things, cookies, right? Occasionally, brownies that come out poorly, but whatever, right? What's a tablespoon? What's a teaspoon? Meh. Giving them the opportunity to develop those muscles, to begin to take care of themselves is really helpful. It takes a little bit of the burden off of us, but it also leaves opportunity for them to be engaged with something, right? to be excited about adulting in these little ways. And so it's a twofold benefit. That's what we want to be thinking about. So that's really where it starts. All right. Anticipating your day to make sure that you have more capacity than you have had in the past. Because when you've had that little capacity, it's caused you to, as you said, you didn't say this is a paraphrase, get overcharged, right? Sort of explode with emotion, I think yelling, and then not be there for your kids in the way that you want to, and then not have a connective and maybe rejuvenating, maybe even fun car ride, okay? Because they're shut down in the back. So all of that is open to you. Observant John, you've picked up the clues to put into your letter and share with me. I see good things ahead for you, friend. And if you can just make those little choices of butlering for yourself and anticipating what's ahead and paying attention to those patterns so that you don't walk the same path, so that you don't fall into the this gets angry trap, this gets me angry trap, right? And stay observant, all right? It only matters if we're observant if we take action on it, right? Information without taking action is just education. So make the informed choice, all right? If you don't want to be that kind of dad, don't step into those shoes. Don't walk that path. Observant John, thank you. What's next, Dan? We've got room for one more.
Yep. Dear Ian, I'm currently co-parenting after a difficult divorce, and honestly, I feel like I'm failing at it. My daughter is 11, and ever since the separation, her attitude toward me has changed completely. She's angry all the time. She snaps at me, ignores me, and lately she's been saying she'd rather stay with her mom because there are less rules there. Part of me wants to get stricter because I feel disrespected, but another part of me knows she's hurting and probably feels unstable right now. The truth is, I didn't grow up with healthy examples of relationships or parenting. There was a lot of fighting, drinking, and chaos in my childhood home, so I honestly don't know what normal conflict is supposed to look like between parents and kids. Now, how do you stay connected to your child after divorce when they seem angry at you all the time? And how do you tell the difference between normal kid behavior and deeper emotional pain? Anxious Ash.
Anxious Ash. Thanks, Ash. So, and I can understand why you're anxious, but again, when you speak that, and I like the alliteration, right? Let me not, the assonance of anxious Ash. But at the same time, the real talk is the way we talk about ourselves is the way that we show up to the world, and it informs how we see the world. So when you see yourself as anxious, right, you're wearing those anxious lenses. You're wiring yourself to be anxious. All right. So I just want to point that out. Look, I'm a divorced dad too. I'm co-parenting as well. I get it. I've got the 11-year-old, and sometimes he chooses to be away, right? Sometimes he chooses to spend more time with mom. Sometimes he doesn't want to engage in the activity that I'm doing with the other two. That's all right. My middle little does the same thing. My 9-year-old will say, I don't want to go to Six Flags, right? He's a special breed. Okay. What happens there overwhelms him, and or at least it did last summer, right? Don't expect your kids to always stay the same. And this is, I think, what you're seeing, right? You used to feel more connected to your daughter, and now she's 11. She's going through a bunch of changes. The family situation has changed a lot. You're experiencing those changes. First of all, have grace with yourself. Have grace with yourself and have grace with her. This is a tricky damn time for all of you, right? Very unpleasant. Divorce. Do I think it's the right move? Do I think it's the right move for relationships that are toxic and unproductive and really destined to collapse in one of many ways? Yeah. My parents shouldn't have stayed together. right? I didn't at 5 years old, 10 years old, have that awareness, right? I didn't understand relationships. Neither does your daughter, right? And so she can um, be hurt. She can be upset. You're hurt. You're upset. Be transparent about that. Share that with your daughter. Give it a try, right? You know, I wanted to give you a family with me and your mommy and us together. Okay. But that didn't work out. It wasn't happy times for mommy and it wasn't happy times for daddy. And eventually it was going to be worse times for you. But you know what? You grew up with mommy and daddy kind of not getting along. And so you think it's normal, right? But I'm telling you, I know I've been around the sun a bit more. You don't have to live in a house like that. I grew up in a house like that, and I think it really hurt me. Talk about your experience in ways that are appropriate. 11-year-olds are tremendously well resourced in a lot of ways in understanding different things, but they just want to be able to ask questions too, and they want to feel like they can come to you for solutions, for answers. And gosh, you want them to come to you for answers to questions, because if they're going to the internet, if they're going anywhere else, who knows the quality of response that they're going to get. You know, you can find everything on the internet and most of it is trash. Okay. So be careful, because even the advice that their friends are giving might be internet informed, might be demented YouTuber perform wisdom, right? And just not really be the kind of thing that's meaningful or useful for her situation. It's not that she shouldn't have friends. It's not that they're not going to talk. None of that should stop. Okay. But understand that this is a generation that is overwhelmed with the amount of information that's presented them. All right. And I don't know what your policies are around screen time, but they might not align with what other families are doing in terms of screen time. And for many families, sadly, that means, hey, I don't know how to parent my kid. Here's a screen. At least they'll be quiet. That's what a lot of families do. I know. And I'd like to encourage a more intentional path forward. We're not talking about screen time. We're talking about connecting to your daughter, especially after divorce. Share that. I see that you're angry. I think you're treating me like this because you're upset with me. Is that right? And then you have that conversation. This hurt me too. I had different plans too. And so we're hurting together. But I don't think we want to continue to hurt each other, do we? And this is language straight from several conversations, and you'll need to repeat the conversation. Several conversations that I've had with my 11-year-old. Okay? When he grew up, when he entered our family, he was it. He was the only kid. And so all of our attention went to him. And he sucked it up. He had me wrapped around his finger. I used to lay next to his crib when he wouldn't settle down at bedtime, right? I didn't always make the best parenting choices, but that doesn't mean I need to continue on that enabling path. You see? When you know better, you can do better. And it took me figuring out a better path in order to be able to do better. All right? It sounds like you've got some history to process as well. You've got some adverse childhood experiences, some trauma from that you might be carrying around. I don't know. It's just what you sent in. But listen, finding a therapist to talk through, to talk this through with, finding a coach, right? I'm a dad coach. Finding someone to talk that through with could be immensely helpful, right? Friends can be helpful, of course. I mean, your entire resiliency net can be helpful. Your spirituality, right? Of course, neighbors, uncles, aunts, right? But it's just critical that you're being patient with yourself and understanding that you're carrying a lot of hurt around too. And so the more your daughter knows that, the more she can understand that, the more she can engage with you at that level, the deeper your relationship's going to be, right? And look, she's heading into adolescence. when she's already an adolescent, there are going to be a lot of ups and downs, but and it's almost impossible to parse what is the emotional hurt from the divorce or from the emotional roller coaster that she's experiencing, right? There's no way to parse that, but you at least want to make sure that the divorce stuff is grounds for you to talk, okay? So that the other stuff is also grounds for you to talk. And you don't have this double whammy of, I'm mad at dad because of the divorce, and I don't know what's going on with me physiologically, and so my emotions are all over the place and I'm scared. If she's carrying both of those things around, you're going to have a real tough time connecting over the next 10 years. And I wouldn't wish that on you, okay? So being transparent and finding those quiet moments where you can really connect and be honest and truthful with each other is critical. And don't miss out on those opportunities, because we know the decades fly by with kids, right? You remember holding her as a newborn. You remember her being 1 year old. That was 10 years ago. Cherish this time as hard as it is. Be transparent. I am transparent with my kids in an age appropriate way about my struggles at their age. Try it. Try it. Because the risk of missing out on those opportunities, it's too high. Okay? Aspirational Ash. That's what I'm calling you. Aspirational Ash. You want to have a better relationship with your kid, and you need to have a better relationship with your co-parent too. And so I'd like to talk about that. That's something I have experience with, and the movement that I've made with my co-parent dynamic is impressive. Frankly, I'm going to shine on myself. I'm sorry. Not everyone I talk to says, how is it that your relationship is like this so soon after your divorce? It takes work. It takes humility. All right. But I don't know enough about your story to help you right now. So come on back and let me know what you think. But Ash, I see good things for you, man. All right. Lean into the caring. You've already reached out for help. Find those other sources of assistance and people that you can just talk to and bounce ideas off of. Be transparent with your daughter. It'll help. There we go. Well, that's another episode of Dear Ian. If you are someone looking for parenting assistance, if you know someone who's struggling with being a dad, being a mom, divorce, domestic violence, drugs in the household, any of that stuff, I have lived experience with, and I'd be honored to help in any way that I can. All right. So go ahead and hit me in the DMs. imh.orbs@gmail.com if anyone wants to reach out via email. This is the Orbs Resilience and Belonging channel, and I look forward to seeing you again here at another time. Take care.